A doctor finishes a patient consultation. The clinical decision has been made and the patient leaves the room, but the work does not end there. What follows is documentation, structured fields, predefined categories, and required inputs that must be completed before the encounter is considered finished. Some of these fields correspond closely to what just happened, others only approximate it. A few require interpretation rather than description. The doctor adjusts the wording, selects the closest available option, and adds a note to account for details that do not fit neatly into the available structure. Once the required elements are in place, the system accepts the entry and the record is closed. The consultation itself took 10 minutes. Completing the documentation takes longer. This difference is not treated as a problem. Within the system, it is treated as a sign that the process is working as intended. Situations like this are common across modern organizations, and they are rarely understood as failures. They emerge from systems designed to make work more consistent, more traceable, and easier to oversee at scale. Efficiency is introduced with a familiar logic. If work takes too long, it can be streamlined. If outcomes vary, processes can be standardized. If quality depends too heavily on individual judgment, decisions can be embedded into the system itself. In controlled environments, this logic often holds. Variation is reduced, processes become predictable, and coordination requires less negotiation. As systems expand, however, they increasingly operate across contexts that are not identical and situations that cannot be fully anticipated in advance. At that point, efficiency begins to behave differently. When efficiency is applied at scale, work rarely disappears. Instead, it is redistributed. Activities that were once handled through professional judgment are translated into predefined steps, categories, and thresholds. Coordination between people is replaced by interaction with interfaces, forms, and compliance structures. Each individual requirement appears reasonable. Each additional step is small enough to seem justified. Taken together, however, they alter the nature of the work itself. As more decisions are embedded in standardized processes, professional judgment does not vanish, but it is displaced. Clinicians continue to interpret, adjust, and compensate, but increasingly in ways that are not fully acknowledged by the system. Trust is relocated from people to documentation, predefined options, and auditability. The effort required to translate complex reality into acceptable system inputs grows, while the space for recognized judgment narrows. Much of this work is absorbed silently, distributed across individuals, and rarely counted as part of the task itself. From the system's perspective, efficiency improves. From within the work, effort increases. Large systems are effective at tracking outputs and compliance. They are far less capable of observing the cognitive and emotional effort required to sustain them. If outcomes are achieved and required fields are completed, the process is assumed to have worked. Over time, efficiency comes to mean alignment with the system rather than a reduction of effort. Work that fits predefined structures is visible and measurable. Work that does not fit becomes informal, individualized, and largely invisible. This is why efficiency often feels exhausting in practice, not because professionals resist improvement, but because improvement is defined in a way that redistributes work while narrowing the space in which expertise is formally recognized. As systems become cleaner, more standardized, and more auditable, the effort required to sustain them often increases. The system appears efficient from the outside, while the work inside it becomes denser and more demanding. This is not a failure of intent or execution. It is a predictable outcome of how efficiency behaves when applied at scale. This is what systems do.